August the 18th, 2025. As you're looking at overnight images up to the current one of Hurricane Erin, it is 7:19 a.m. Central Time here in Central Mississippi. And it's a beautiful day. It's going to get hot, but we are getting through summer better than I expected, to be honest with you. I went back and letting this run overnight up until the current time. And the reason I did that is so we can look at the track over that period of time and see what changes it's made, things like that. And in the beginning of this, you can definitely see a north and northwest angle headed up this way, right? But in the last few frames, it's turned almost directly west. And that's a little bit of a problem. We'll see. And right there, the last few frames, the eye wall's trying to restart. We're back into a 130-mile-an-hour Cat 4 hurricane. Very powerful, guys. But in the last few frames, again, we're getting a westerly turn. And so the further west it turns, that means it's getting closer to the East Coast. And so when it makes that loop that's predicted to go up between, say, Hatteras and Bermuda, then that means it's going to be closer to the U.S. coastline. Again, you can see it followed the trend from yesterday, starting down in this area, headed up this way, again, northwest. And then the last few frames, we're starting to see it just move west. And what that does, guys, is, again, keep it tracking this way. Now, it is slowing down. You can tell in the last few frames, and that may be getting ready for the hard turn. Let's look at some of the projections and some of the other satellite images. Now, this goes from yesterday afternoon. You'll see the night come in there overnight. You can see the strengthening start right in there, the recycling. Sun rises this morning, and that's what we have. In that last frame, though, you can definitely see the outer edges of the eye wall, and you've got just a little bit of cloud cover up at the upper levels is the only reason you cannot see the surface of the ocean right now. But that's looks like it's changing. It's winding up, again, 130 mile per hour sustained winds. Now let's take a wider view and back out just a moment. Of course, here's Erin down here just at the southern edges of the Bahamas, right in here. And everyone's seen the projections coming up here and skating very close to the Outer Banks into this area. But what I want to do is show you right in this area, we've got a southward push of this area right here. See that coming in, pushing down and out into the Atlantic here. We still have this system. They're not really watching it anymore. It's just sitting there, but it is dry. But what it is doing is setting up somewhat of a front right here in this area, again, off of North Carolina. So how will that affect the steering of this storm? Now, this is the latest from the National Hurricane Center down in Miami. And Erin is here, again, 130 mile per hour Cat 4. It's moving northwest at 13 miles per hour. A little slower than it has been, but usually that's when they start to do a turn, they will do that. Behind it now, this is what we're looking at is what I call the secondary storm, and this thing could come into the Caribbean or come into South Florida. It now has a 50% chance of development in 7 days. Tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development for the system, and a tropical depression could form during the latter part of the week. This system should move westward to west-northwestward at about 20 miles per hour across the central tropical Atlantic and approach the vicinity of the Leeward Islands toward the end of this week. And so, again, Erin has cleared out a lot of Saharan sand layer, and this may be as big of a storm as Erin, but it has a slightly further south projection. And this came out 29 minutes ago at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, guys. Cat 4 sitting here, and it's not showing this sharp turn yet. It's still kind of drifting over straight west. And so, again, the further it drifts this way before it makes that turn, the closer, logically, it would come to the East Coast. And our millibars of pressure is 933, and that's going to continue to drop throughout the day, more than likely because the storm is going to stay a Cat 4 through most of the day and into the night. They're saying, we'll see if it changes that, but as it gets further north, the waters do cool off somewhat. Now, our spaghetti models are showing basically the same thing, just a little further drift to the left, right in here, closer to the East Coast. Not a lot, but some of the models are starting to drift, just close enough to where this is just where the center of the storm is supposed to be, guys. So if you make that circle there, first you're going to have the center where the hurricane force winds, and then it's spread out to the tropical storm force winds. So again, it was a very wise choice to evacuate part of these Outer Banks and other sections of the East Coast. Now let's take a look first at the Canadian model. And notice the wobble in here, guys. I don't know if you can see it, kind of S-curving back and forth. And I'm going to put my cursor right over Bermuda, right there. Now here comes your secondary storm. But on this first one, on Erin, again, watch that S wobble right in there. And now it's pretty much clearing Bermuda. Not a whole lot of action there. Maybe some outer bands of tropical force or tropical storm force winds, maybe even less than that. And now the Navy model. Notice it gets a little closer to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Check that out. And that's close for a storm this powerful and this large and strong. But again, the secondary storm is coming off under this section of high pressure right in there. They will focus on this more as Erin clears out of the picture. Now, I've got this particular Euro model set for Wednesday at 11 p.m. And you can see right here the close proximity to the Outer Banks. And again, this is a forward projection of the next 2 days. So definitely is a good idea to evacuate all of this, and we're going to watch throughout the next 3 days for all of the changes in the path, the pressure, the strength, and all of the warnings that are going up. By the way, they did exactly like we thought they would do and jacked up the rip current warnings. Now, yesterday, the red areas, and this is a rip current risk, were only right here. Now you can see they've spread throughout most of Florida. Check that out. And South Carolina, a lot of North Carolina still in the moderate rip current risk, but then you get up to the Outer Banks, which they've are supposed to be evacuated out by 10 a.m. this morning. Still a couple hours left. And then all the way up through New Jersey, Delaware, and then back into yellow here. But again, the high rip current this is what they say, it's a risk of rip currents is high. Life-threatening rip currents are likely. Swimming conditions are unsafe for all levels of swimmers. Stay out of the water. Always follow advice from the local beach patrol and flag warning systems. In the yellow, which is most of the rest of the area, risk of rip currents is moderate. Life-threatening rips are possible and may appear suddenly. Remain in shallow water and beware of surf that can knock you off your feet. So as you're making any late summer plans to be on the beach, guys, keep all of this in mind. Don't be part of the statistics, okay? But we're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.